The money everyone called dead was the only thing in that office actually working around the clock, and the people laughing at it had no idea they were the ones falling behind. Most personal finance advice treats an emergency fund like a fire extinguisher. Hang it on the wall, hope you never need it, feel vaguely responsible for having it. But that framing is wrong in a way that costs people real money, real opportunities, and real career momentum every single day. The research on this is striking. Vanguard surveyed over 12,000 investors and found that emergency savings are the single strongest predictor of financial well-being. Stronger than income, stronger than investment assets. Having as little as $2,000 set aside produced a measurable, significant improvement in how people functioned financially before anything went wrong. That's the part nobody talks about. The fund isn't waiting for a crisis to start paying you. It's already paying you. And the story of one guy whose coworkers called his savings account dead money is the clearest illustration of that I've ever come across. His coworkers called it dead money. His coworkers called it dead money. 6 months of living expenses, just sitting in a savings account, doing nothing, losing ground to inflation every single day. They said it to his face. At lunch, with the kind of confidence people have when they think they're smarter than you. He smiled and kept saving. And I want to tell you exactly what happened next, because the layoff is only the beginning of this story. The real twist is what that money was already doing to him long before the pink slips ever showed up. And by the end of this, you're going to look at an emergency fund completely differently than you do right now. Let's call him Marcus. Mid-30s, solid job at a company that felt stable enough. He'd been quietly building his cash cushion for about 3 years. And yes, his coworkers noticed. They had opinions. One guy, let's call him Derek. Derek was particularly vocal about it. You know inflation is eating that, right? You should be investing it. You're literally losing money by holding cash. And Derek wasn't wrong about the math. Inflation does chip away at idle cash. But Derek was missing something much bigger, and we'll get to that. Now here's the first thing I want you to notice, because this is the part that almost nobody talks about. The benefits of an emergency fund are measurable even before any emergency occurs. People who have adequate emergency savings report lower baseline anxiety about job security, even when their job is perfectly stable. The fund works prospectively. It's already paying you before anything goes wrong. So while Derek was optimizing his brokerage account, Marcus was operating with a quieter nervous system every single day. That matters more than it sounds, and here's why. When you're facing an unexpected expense with no savings behind you, your nervous system treats it like a physical threat. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, impulse control, and rational judgment, starts to lose ground to the more reactive parts of your brain. Financial pressure doesn't just empty your wallet, it temporarily reduces your cognitive capacity. So the coworkers mocking Marcus for holding dead money were actually the ones paying a hidden tax every day. A cognitive tax, a clarity tax, and they didn't even know it. Marcus was thinking more clearly at work. He was less reactive in meetings. He slept better. People with emergency savings report lower rates of anxiety, better sleep, and stronger relationship stability during financial disruptions. And those advantages were compounding quietly, invisibly, while everyone else was laughing at his savings account. But here's where the story gets interesting. Because about 8 months before the layoffs, the signals started showing up. Most people missed them. Marcus didn't. Layoffs are rarely announced without warning. In most cases, the signs are visible weeks or even months before the formal announcement. Hiring freezes, budget cuts, leadership departures, repeated reorganizations, and shifts in company messaging all leave a trail. At Marcus's company, it started with the travel budget. When a company stops hiring, it's conserving cash. When it simultaneously restricts travel budgets, tool purchases, and contractor renewals, the conservation is urgent. These measures often precede layoffs by 30 to 90 days. Then a new CFO came in. A new CFO often means new priorities. New executives frequently want to make their mark within the first 100 days, and layoffs are a quick way to cut costs and restructure. Then the PIP started. While PIPs can be a genuine tool for employee development, when used broadly, unpredictably, or in quick succession, they can become a paper trail justifying layoffs. Marcus saw all of it, and because he had his cushion, he didn't panic. He started quietly updating his resume, reaching out to his network, having conversations. Recognizing these signs early gives you something invaluable: time to prepare while you still have salary, benefits, and internal access. Derek, meanwhile, was fully invested in the market, no real cash buffer, and he was spending his mental energy trying not to think about what would happen if the worst came true. Research demonstrates a clear relationship between the amount of time spent in the workplace distracted by financial stress and emergency savings. Derek was distracted. Marcus was watching. The layoffs hit on a Tuesday, roughly a third of the department, gone in a single afternoon. Marcus was on the list. So was Derek. And here's where the story splits in two. Derek needed income fast. He had a mortgage, no real buffer, and the market had pulled back, so he didn't want to sell investments at a loss. The pressure to take the first job offered, regardless of fit or pay, would be intense. So he took the first offer that came. It was lateral at best. He was back to work in 6 weeks, but in a role he didn't want, at a company he hadn't vetted, for basically the same money he was making before. Marcus had 6 months. He interviewed selectively. He turned down 2 offers that weren't right. He negotiated the third one because he could afford to walk away if they didn't meet his number. The emergency fund didn't just prevent financial damage, it prevented career damage. He could afford to be selective. He landed a role that was a genuine step up. Better title, better team, better trajectory. The layoff, for Marcus, turned out to be the best career move he never planned. Now I want to sit with that for a second, because this is the thing that gets buried in every build your emergency fund conversation. Everyone frames it as insurance, like you're paying a premium every month, hoping you never need to use it. But that's not what it actually is. Financial pressure doesn't just empty your wallet, it temporarily reduces your cognitive capacity. An emergency fund protects your ability to think clearly at the exact moment clear thinking matters most. It's not a passive reserve. It's an active performance advantage, running in the background every single day. And the research backs this up in a way that's kind of stunning. Vanguard's research shows that $2,000 in an emergency fund can be just as powerful as having $1 million in assets when it comes to financial well-being. $2,000. Not because of what it buys you in a crisis, but because of what it does to your baseline stress level when nothing is wrong. Exposure to chronic stress contributes considerably to the development of cognitive impairments, affecting things like cognitive flexibility, behavioral inhibition, and working memory. These are exactly the skills you need to read a room, spot a bad deal, negotiate well, and make good decisions under pressure. Financial stress quietly erodes all of them. So when Derek was calling Marcus's savings account dead money, he was actually describing money that was working harder than anything in his own portfolio, just in a way that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. If this is hitting home for you, drop a comment below. Tell me where you're at with your emergency fund right now. I read every single one, and honestly, the comments on videos like this are where the best conversations happen. And if you want to go deeper on the mechanics of actually building this cushion fast, I've got a video that walks through exactly how to do it. It's linked right here, and it's worth watching back to back with this one. Now, back to Marcus, because there's one more piece to this story that I think is the most important. The layoff didn't create his advantage. The blizzard just made the tunnel visible. That's the thing about financial security that nobody tells you. You don't build an emergency fund for the emergency. You build it for every ordinary Tuesday between now and then. For the meeting where you can push back instead of fold. For the job offer you can walk away from. For the conversation with your boss, where you're negotiating from calm instead of desperation. Research on unemployment-related health outcomes confirms that the financial insecurity itself, not just the job loss, drives the worst psychological effects. Having accessible savings can be the difference between a manageable disruption and a cascading crisis that affects health, relationships, and career simultaneously. Marcus didn't win because the layoff happened. He won because he had been winning quietly for 3 years before it did. Most experts recommend an emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months of living expenses. And if that number feels far away right now, that's fine. The point isn't to have it all at once. The point is that even getting started changes how your brain operates. Even a modest emergency fund produces a disproportionately large psychological benefit relative to its dollar value. Derek eventually figured this out. About a year after the layoffs, he called Marcus and asked how he'd stayed so calm through all of it. Marcus told him, and Derek started building his cushion the next week. The co-workers who laughed at Marcus's useless emergency fund were optimizing for one number, the return on idle cash. Marcus was optimizing for something else entirely, the ability to think clearly, act slowly, and choose well in a world that's constantly trying to make you panic. That's the real return, and it doesn't show up in any account balance. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We put out videos like this every week, and the next one is going to be just as useful as this one. You don't want to miss it.